Hey guys, you got the hippie here. I'm still the lady hippie at the bar. Probably might use that term lady a little. I'm in a mood this morning. I tried. Uh, I say I saw Reykjavik is in danger again. I fidget when I get here. Um, Another volcano went off and it's bad. So Reykjavik is hit severely right now. They're evacuating. There was an earthquake of 4.5 in, I believe it was California. We had something, I can't remember what the scale was in Taiwan. Oh my God, the damage, the people. I dropped to my knees when I saw some of these this morning and just prayed and grabbed my rosary. And yes, I don't believe in organized religion, and it is for entertainment purposes only, which is why I'm blooming going to be here all week. Aren't you happy? Yes, of course you're happy. Hit the like, hit the share. Hell, live it up and hit that button that says subscribe. It's free. I'm not good enough to charge. I've been doing it a couple of months and my algorithms have gone up a little bit. So if you do run into me, hit the like, put something in the comments. I don't care if it's, hey, ugly old woman, get off the TV. So I'm rather thick skinned, I'm old, I don't care. This is social Woodstock for hippies. Seriously, that's what I wanted to do. And I see I'm going to end up going the wrong way. Yeah, I always go the wrong way. And I love these little drop necklaces that my husband buys me. And they're really cute. I don't have to wear four of them. And so, oh dear. And that would be the husband now. Luckily, we're going to make time for this. Yes, I'm on live. I'm on live. Yes, sir. Got it. Thank you. Okay, bye. Today is one of those days. We're starting to try to get used to the fact that we're both retired. And of course, bills come at different times. Bills don't go, hey, if you've got a fixed income, we've got a bill for you. Actually, they might do that. So at the end of the month, we pay everything at the beginning of the month. We used to pay everything, but you can't nowadays. They've changed it. They 2 or 3 months back, they changed their websites. Oh my God, are they not user friendly? I mean, it's all I can do not to go there and look. Let me work for IT. I'll do it for free. Let's make this something useful. Won't accept a debit card yet. It has a space for debit card. And my debit card and my husband's debit card are all in our wallet, our electronic wallet. And so is our checking account. Finally, with Georgia Power, of all people, I've called Georgia Power. They do not take payments on the phone. Love that. You have to go through Bill Matrix, which charges you $3.50 to make your payment using that. Isn't that oh, that's just so cute. And then they go, no, no, no. You can't get your wallet open. You finally get the wallet open. It's got the information, but it won't accept it as a payment. And we have like over $1,000. It's not like that $200 can't come out. So I'm back and forth with wallet talking to them, and they don't make no sense at Georgia Power. And they say, "Oh, call Bill Matrix, bite me." So at that point, I'm ready to reach to the phone and grab one of them and say, "Look here, make this your problem, okay? Because otherwise, you're gonna have me as a problem. You don't want me as a problem." Finally, I got through and into what they did have on information. So they had the checking account. So I threw that up, and it finally went through because, like I said, they will not take it on the phone at the power company. They won't do that. There are 3 places you can go to pay in cash. Don't take a check. They don't take a debit card. You got to get cash to go. It's so freaking loopy that you just go, what next? Because I've been here 11 years and I use the same companies. So the only thing that would change, and you can add in your wallet, of course, is to delete the one and put in the new one. Works on all the others, not on Georgia Power. And I used Bill Matrix on another one too. So we actually get $7 in charges just to pay our flipping bills. It's stupid, but you have to do it that way. You get in your car and you run around town. And by the time you've done that, you spent 45.50 because a quarter tank is gone in your gas can. Mm-mm. So that took me an hour this morning. That I'm, of course, still complaining about, as you can see. Please, I love all you guys. I cannot tell you how my heart just leaps with joy when I look at my algorithms. I get likes, but I'm not getting any comments, and I have live chat open. I know it's Monday. Monday sucks. It's early. But please, if you see me, like, dislike, I don't, whatever. And at this point, I don't drop videos. If I felt that there was enough need for them, I would. If I were asked for them, I would. But I wanted this to be free, open discussions of the way we feel about what the last 45 years have crawled up our butts and done wrong. I'd like to talk about the fact that parents at a teacher conference are thrown out and carried out by four cops because they asked a question. I would like to talk about the fact that you have some idiot running around and still can't find which door leads out of the Oval Office to get to a bathroom. I mean, he's had so many gaffes that it's obvious he's not working with full facilities. He's 81, for God's sakes. Why do you want to be? Why do you want to be the most powerful person, basically, at least in our country, at 81? Why do you want to do that? You don't golf. You don't hit by the pool. You don't drink. You don't lay back. You go, I'm going to die next year. What is the deal with that crap? Now, I would welcome Trump. Again, I don't vote because I know it's not in us to make a change. You know, the Electoral College, the state representatives. I ain't never seen one of them sons up. Just, I put him to let kids watch this because sometimes I swear like a sailor and I don't read to, but it's almost no other way to describe these traitors. And they're all traitors. There's a few. The young lady who's a congresswoman from Georgia, she's good. She fights hard. Josh Harley, I can't remember. He might be Tennessee. I like him. He's a veteran, and he don't pull punches either. There's several that I like, and I don't know what this Democrat Republic crap is. I don't vote because I'm a Democrat. I don't vote because I'm a Republican. I would vote if it counted. But when the Electoral College says your president this year is X, Y, and Z, and then you don't vote for another 8 months or whatever, and you're like, how'd they know what I wanted? How'd they know? It used to be a secret ballot. People are so cute. They still pull those little curtains like it's a secret. They're wearing a T-shirt that says they're going to vote for them. They're wearing a hat that says they're going to vote. It's plastered all over their car. They draw that curtain. I don't guess they Googled who votes in the American president. They ought to do that because that's exactly what it says. The Electoral College votes in the American president. So your questions should not be who's running, who's pulling ahead. That's all those talking political heads on what we used to call news channels. No, and they're in their pockets so hard they couldn't get out. I mean, if you throw them rope, they couldn't get out. You can't make this shit up. You know, Biden, it's okay for him to send 10 billion, and I love the Ukraine. I'm praying that they win, but we don't have 10 billion. We just don't have it. And if we do have it, put these tiny houses up and give the veterans and homeless a chance. If they have an address, if they can get out of the elements, if they can get clean clothes and hang them up. I'm not saying build them a 3 foot, by 500-foot bathroom and a huge 5-story mansion. I'm saying give them one that's 3 or 4 feet and 6 feet, enough to where they can stay. They have an address. They can get to work. I know how difficult it is, and I know how easy it is to be homeless. You live one paycheck away from being homeless. And now, we're retired, and we get our Social Security. That is what they let us have, which is another story. So, you gotta love that. You can't cuss them out because it's not them; it's the rules. And I give them credit. They took me in. I went one time live, down to it, and the next day my check came in. Now I'm still waiting on a second check that was supposed to be back pay, and they said it might not be here till April or May, which is, and it's not like I make the money I made when I was working. It's like the money I made for a week when I was working. Same with my husband. But you can't say that, you can't do that, you can't change it, so you're going to deal with it. So we pay X amount of bills when we can see them at the beginning of the month. There's only one that we can't see, and we'd have to guess at, which is our power bill. And it's not due till the end of the month. Our phone bills aren't due until the end of the month. So basically, and we don't see the bill, so we just going to pay it. So those two we know are going to come up, and you can't see that. We know what the bill is for Straight Talk. We've been Straight Talk a customer for 20 years or more. I mean, and that thing, they're good service. That my phone worked everywhere. I had 15 people one time when I was flying back from Wisconsin to see my sister to ask to use my phone because theirs had no signal. I was fine, mine's 45 a month. Oh, there's no limit. You can't beat that. No, I do not buy a $2,000 phone. I buy the little droid that's like $50, and I'm mad about that. I mean, when it rings, I go, "Yep, okay, bye." That's it. That's all I do on my phone. So I suppose I understand that in some cases you need a $2,000 phone. I don't. I don't. I've carried a phone. My husband's made me do that since 1990. So I've been through, and I have them. He says, "Go to the kiosk and put them in there. They'll pay you." I'm like, "No, I got pictures on there." Sound like 30 phones from 1990 now. And that's a long time. That's like 35 years. And they haven't changed a lot until 2010. And that's the smartphone when it came out. Me is still a damn phone. I should put that dial sound in there. So I got bills paid. We got so broke last year that we actually, my husband went and I was upset. But we weren't going to be able to get the children. And our children are in their 40s, and our grandkids are mainly grown in teenage years. The youngest would be my Lily. No, I'm sorry. The youngest would be Zoe, who's turning 12 at the same month I do. She's, however, another Virgo. She's a Leo. We're on the cusp. I'm a Virgo on the cusp of Leo. And my husband is flat out Virgo. He's 3 days later. So we're at the end of the month. She's at the beginning of the month. And she'll be 12, going on 43. Like all of us did. She's so smart, so beautiful. I don't know how they let her out of the house. Same with our Lily. That's my husband's granddaughter. She's my step granddaughter. I love her to pieces. These girls were, I didn't get to have children after my son. I wasn't supposed to be able to have him. And I died twice having him. And then I had a lot of problems. I had to go to the VA, go through surgeries and all that. I would not do radiation and chemo. Nope. No, you're not going to kill me because I got it. If I got it, it could kill me. I don't give a damn. But I'm not paying you to kill me. It's just, that's the way it is. And I survived it. No big deal. My son and daughter are in their 40s. Their kids, like I said, are nearly grown. I think there's a lot of shit coming down the damn highway. I really do. The world is on fire. If it's not Iraq, Iran and Israel, of course, Hamas out of Palestine against Israel. And, luckily, Syria, Jordan, the United States, Britain were there to help when they sent the 350 missiles, even though the talking heads said it was around 50. Not so bad. It's just 50. Those are the people I wish they'd come up with virtual media so I could reach out and go, "Bah, bah," and one more time and knock them off the chair. Now, don't get up unless you can talk about something useful. No more lies. The media lies continuously every day as far as the U.S. media is concerned, so I don't watch it. I did, however, pick, of course, at my own sources, and I found that the earthquake had happened at a 4.8. I found Taiwan was a disaster. I found Reykjavik had been evacuated due to a horrendous eruption of a volcano there. I can't remember the name. And so all those get prayers. Sometimes I look up and I go, what next? And a camel floats by. At that point, your mind goes, okay, this is strange. They've investigated the paranormal for 50 odd years. Ever since my uncle died, it appeared to me as a ghost, and that's the story. Right after, and he said, "I love you. Look into this." Basically, and I mean, I had talked to him for some minutes before I realized he wasn't really there. I could see that there was ice in my room. It was August in Chicago, and we did not have air conditioning, so you can imagine it was something that woke me up. I knew there was paranormal, but then things got really whack. And again, more of a story. My husband keeps saying I should write another book basically about me being adopted, dealing with paranormal. They bought an old house, it was 120 years old. And first, they pushed my mom down the stairs. And my mom was World War II era, so was my adopted father. And so after I got her upstairs and taken care of, because she had been injured, her leg, and she had bruises and scrapes. And I said, that's it. You don't go downstairs anymore. I will take the laundry down and I will hang it up outside or I'll put it in the dryer. And oh my word. See, the kids really go to the basement at that time. But you go down there and you're putting the clothes in and you can feel something. And you're starting to get scared. You're looking around, you're starting to get scared. You don't know why, but you're starting to get scared. And you're pushing the button to start that load. And suddenly you find that you're running up the stairs and that you slam that door shut. And then you run into another room where you can still see the door, but you don't know why you were running. And you're like, what am I nuts? So you calm down. Of course, you're waiting for that load. And back then it took a little longer. And if it was a nice day, I loved to hang the clothes outside. And so you run back down, to get the clothes. And again, it would start. And so if you're hanging them outside, you grab the basket, you run to the other door, one of the slanting doors, and jump through those 6 stairs and go outside. If you throw them in the dryer, and usually I did because it was just faster. And so they all would go in, you throw the next load on, and you're timing yourself. In your head, you're going, okay, it's been a minute and a half, you got to go. And you never knew why. I took my husband to my childhood home finally. I was owned by my brother at that point, and it seemed so small. And I was surprised at that. It seemed so big when I was a young girl. So I wanted to go to the basement, and it was gone. Whatever was there, I mean, the minute I hit the bottom stair, I knew it wasn't there anymore. It wasn't evil. There was no bad feelings. It was normal. And I thought, well, where did it go? Because basically, I took my husband down there, so we scared the shit out of him, but it didn't work. Wasn't there? Which I was grateful because my brother lived there, but it was very odd. And he knew the stories. So he's looking at me like I'm nuts. I don't blame him. So that's my some of the beginning and middle of my paranormal research. I would love to have a Kinect camera, but we do what we do. Again, I would drop videos, but again, I feel like if I do, I'm plagiarizing these people, and I don't know what my audience really wants to see. I wanted, as I said, to do social Woodstock so that all of us could just sit around like we did in the late 70s, early 80s, and before barcodes. So we said, oh my God, I even worked as a second job in a grocery store. You had to punch it in and all that, count change. Yeah, not like this. I love the unpaid, untrained cashier shit. I love that. Gotta love that. At my little Walmart, it only has groceries, and I'll run down there, and I gotta, do all of this myself. And I tell him, and it gives you, what do you rate our store? I, I'm like 5 star. I did all this shit myself. I'm untrained. I'm unpaid. Jackasses. And now they want it to, I don't know if they've done it yet, but they want to make all of those who use the automated system that you do it yourself, they want to add a tax on that. You can't find one open. I've had them tell people, and I've heard it. I've heard them tell me, and actually it happened to me once. If you want it, what's in your basket, you will have to check yourself out. There is not a register open for you. And they're rude as hell. They don't care. You know, I watched one guy, he had a cart probably with $200, $300 in it. He said, "Are you serious to me? You got 15 people here. Not one of you can open a register." And this guy had a walker on top of it. Vietnam vet, his had a. So I went, and they said you can leave it here if you want. You don't have to take it, but if you can't check it out, you can't take it. And I had just finished mine, and I went over and I said, "Look, sir, can I help you, please? These people are ugly, and there's no point in you wasting a minute on them. Let me check you out, okay?" And I put everything, and when I do it, I do just like I would do it if there was a cashier, because there's a camera on you and they can see you. And instead of giving them something to, try to see, I make sure they can see me. And this poor man was very sweet, wanted to take me to lunch. Very sweet man. Only I think around my own husband's age, around calling out 69. And so I get it all up there, and I tell him, "You stay here by the buggy," and I loaded it all up after I, did everything. And he was astonished. And he says, "You must work." I said, "No, sir. I'm like you, untrained, unpaid cashier, but I'm not going to treat a veteran, a hero, and let them get away with it. We're not going to let them see that upset us so that we could do that, sir. We're going to tell them up yours." He wanted to take me to lunch so bad. He was so sweet. And he kept hugging me. And my basket was already done and out of the way, which I actually pushed between the two women that were so rude to this man, just so they could see. Because it was on the camera. So they knew that nobody would help him, that he could leave that $300. And as a matter of fact, it was like 286 or something that this man spent. But they would rather have him leave that cart there than wait on this man. I mean, it was enough to say, okay, yeah, it's not a long one. You know, that's a lot of money to not spend there. And this man was a hero. He was a veteran. To me, and I'm a veteran, I'm not a hero, but any veteran from a war zone is a hero. They made it back alive. And they should be treated as such, because the reason that you're not bleeding to death or your kids aren't bleeding to death is because these guys went out and died 9 out of 10 of them. I know my cousins were there. That's why I enlisted. So if I see any vet, let alone a Vietnam vet, I'm on top of it. I'm not. No, no, you're not gonna. Nah. If you can't be honorable to a veteran, get out. At least get away from me, because it will be taken care of, and so will you. And then I went and made a formal complaint to their offices. Signed Wanda. Not sorry. things things changed after that. He kept hugging me and hugging me. Now he's using a walker, and I'm trying to push both buggies, and he's helping. And it turned out he was parked right next to me. So I asked him, "Is there someone there that can help you get this out?" And he promised me there was someone, and his son was coming. So he fussed, but I put all of it in his trunk, and got another hug, and I took his cart back, and he got another hug. I think he was just getting hugs because he wanted them. It was sweet man, sweet, sweet man. Wanted my name. Of course, I gave him my name. And when do you shop here? I said, "Sir, I can't. I just come when I need things. But I've been coming here for 11 years. My grandson worked here, and they know me, and they will hear from me." And he said, "So, are you going to report this?" I said, "Oh, you bet your sweet biffy, sir." Turned out he was a major, and he didn't know I was a veteran until just before he left. And he said, "I wish there had been a veteran to see that." because they wouldn't come here anymore. And I said, "Sir, I am a veteran." He said, "You couldn't be. You're too cute. You're just too cute." And I was like, I don't think that counts as a reason not to have a female in the military. We were the first company of women. We were Bravo 3rd at Fort Jackson. We were the first company of women in that battalion or any other battalion to go in as regular Army. And then I got another hug. And he said, "You kicked down that door. You little bitty thing. You kicked down that door." I said, "Yeah, I have a tendency to do that stuff." But he thought it was so funny. And I was so glad that I was there, that I saw what these women did. And they did need to do that. They could have done just like I did. They could have walked over, took the things out of his cart for him, rang him up, put them in bags, set them down, and let him pay it and have somebody walk him out. And they were too sorry to do that. Then they're too sorry to get my money. I go elsewhere, shop now. And I let them know why. And my husband and I spend anywhere 600 to 1,000 a month at that smaller one. Then I go to the bigger one, which my husband hates because I spend more money. So that was my little story for the day about, honor the veterans, okay? Me, not so much. I'm not worried about me. But the war theater, all of those who've been, and they got home, especially now. I had, I'll whip to my elbows. I had MIA and KIA of my nephews, my friends, my nephews. It was, every day almost. I was getting a bracelet. They've never been found. Not one on my bracelets has ever been found. And that was why I enlisted. I wanted to be, at that point, a nurse and typist, and I had trained for that before I went in. And then I did a regular army, which, if you watch Private Benjamin, it was kind of like that. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, we had Vietnam Airborne Rangers as drill sergeants. They didn't have a fucking clue. Excuse my French. Funny as hell to watch, though. Especially when we got drunk on the pass. All these women are drunk. Everybody had the pass. The whole company. They did it by company, but so that not all 5 companies from the battalion would be out at the same time. And of course, we met up with the guys at the bar. So we come back with like 3 guys each on our arms. So I was so naive when I went in, and it was fun. It was fun just to see their faces. It was so cute because we had plenty of time. We didn't go over time. Nobody was being stupid. So it was one of those things that you're proud of, kind of, sort of, but nobody knows who you are or what you did. The girls that are now firemen, they don't know that I taught the paramedics when they were firemen, and that's how they got the start they did get. They don't know how come they have women fighter pilots because we kicked down that door. And they tried to break us. Even at the end, when we were graduating, they came clean about that. They tried to break us. They were under orders to try to break us. They did not think women should be a regular army. But so many had died in Vietnam because they couldn't use the weapons. Even if they had a weapon, they couldn't use it. They didn't know how they worked. So they died en masse trying to protect their patients and so forth. Captured, killed, even if captured, I'd have shot myself first. I'm not going to anybody as a captive. I shoot myself first. You're not taking me. No, isn't if they're going on in my life now? You're not going to torture me on top of it. Nah, screw you. So, but plenty of my nephews, cousins, and so forth that made it back, and they knew I had already gone on delayed entry at that point, and they didn't come around for a couple of years after they got out, and they taught me. They set up an obstacle course. They set up all kinds of stuff, and I thought, oh man, I can do this. Gymnast, karate, all that. I took fencing. I did all that. I love dodgeball. And so doing this, hand over hand, trying to get across, you're like, oh my God, this is worse than gym. Might be a gymnast, but this shit's hard. And I knew how to do a pull up, but I didn't know how to do it this way. And so that was fun. But they ran me and they timed me, and it was, every weekend, and they would drive down because they lived in Cicero, and we lived on the outskirts of Chicago and Harvey. Cicero is very close to Chicago itself, and so because of those guys, I passed. I weighed 88 pounds and I got that. You should have seen it. And you have a uniform for an 88-pound girl. Even the helmet you just down here, there's stuff newspaper in it. But they finally got it together. All of ours were altered. I can't say we looked great or they altered them real great, but you didn't have to hold them up. So, but we were proud of what we did, and I still am. But they don't know. There's no pictures of us on the wall, and we took everything, every medal, every parade. We took it. We were number one. Can't teach a girl how to march. Girls can do that. Can't teach a girl how to clean dairy. Know that stuff. Things like that, and other things, rifle and so forth. Weapons. I still say it's my rifle. It's been a long time. So for those of you girls who are going out there, and I even have a my grandson's half sister. She's in the army. She is dressed and covered right. That girl's knocking them dead. I love it. She's taking ranger training and airborne training. So, yeah, I love this. I love the fact that she can do that. And she'll tell people, my grandma knocked down the door. She a mess. So, but beautiful. Definitely was proud of her and how she wore that uniform. She knew when you're in uniform, you represent this country. So you don't go around with glow shoes and your hat half on. No, you go out dressed uncovered right because you represent your country. Now, thank God, either man or woman. So I love that part. And I just found out not long ago about ranger training and everything. And I'm just so proud of my kids. And to see so many of them go in and say they went because of grandma. Because I always have a story. I went in with 3 chevrons, so I went with a lot of rank, basically. A private doesn't even have rank. You got to reach private to get even the 1 chevron, which is pirate. I call it it's private, but we always call them pirates for a reason. That's another story. So we didn't have a lot of fun seeing that. We wish Dubai a lot of luck. They've been getting the shit knocked out of them. Taiwan's a disaster. It's just some of the buildings are just leaning over. It's the wildest thing. It reminded me of the old black and whites of San Francisco. There wasn't much damage in California, but when I heard it, and I heard it, I was like, twice only in my life have I been in an earthquake that I heard. I've been in 5 earthquakes, but you didn't hear it. You felt the shaking, but you didn't hear anything. When you hear it, it is the scariest thing I've ever been in, ever. And I've been in like hurricanes, tornadoes, you name it. I've been airlifted off of buildings. That didn't bother me. But when you are in an earthquake and you hear it and it's so loud you cannot hardly run because it's attacking your senses, that's an earthquake. That's an earthquake. And it put the fear of God in me. I don't know about y'all. I'm holding a baby trying to get women out of the laundromat. I didn't sleep for 3 days since, and luckily I had one uniform on because my entire set was in that laundromat, which all those buildings went down. And the women are trying to edge closer to the, like they're coming down to get out of here. So we're in the middle of the street, which is doing this. It's awful. It's just terrible. But the sound is what I remember as well. That and the sound. But everybody who was with us in the laundromat, we got to safety. It finally stopped. I think it was. It felt like it was 20 minutes. I think it was only like 2 minutes. I mean, it wasn't long, but it was incredibly long to those of us who were dodging masonry and hearing this noise. I can't describe it. I think they should have it on the video. If you want to, I'll drop those, or you can go over and see them. So there's more earth changes. Reykjavik is really, this is bad. Reykjavik was in danger 2 3 months back because of that. And this time when it blew, it really blew. I mean, this was a horrific eruption. And so, I mean, they had to evacuate. Reykjavik, which is their capital. This is Iceland, just so everybody knows. Um, that also makes me sit up. Um, it just checks the boxes. These preachers, I don't. That's why I call them preachers. They're nattering at you. They don't know squat. Or as my dad used to say, shit from Shinola, which I believe they used to shine their boots. I'm not sure. But he was, he was like a grandparent, both my parents. And they were great guys. I mean, as far as I only had parents for 8 years, I think. And I'm afraid the father did not agree with my going active duty. He didn't want that because it wasn't whack. He didn't appreciate that. But he was already in bad shape from cirrhosis, and so I just overlooked it. And I didn't do it for anybody. I did it for me, and it's what you do. You've got to get on with your life. I didn't want to be stuck in the same place because, for one, I wanted my family anyway, and two, you lived in the suburb, not in Chicago. So where were you going to work? I had a job as a little uh, cleanup girl, basically. I bagged groceries, I threw newspapers, I did all that, but there was no money in it. You know, military, you would get fed, you get your uniform, you would be trained, all of that. So that's what drew me to the military and Vietnam. And I wanted to make a difference. And I still think I made a difference either way. I don't care what anybody says, I made a difference. I made a damn good difference. So don't forget that, ladies. There's nothing that we can't do that the men do. And we usually do it better. No hate mail. Just throw it in the comments and tell me what it is, and we'll let you know if you can do it better than us. Dare ya. Men are another subject entirely. Huh? Oh, I love that. That's a kind of a wake you up thing. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if and my husband's going to go behind the bar. And go, you drank the whole thing. We really have had no company, not even my grandson. So I tend to have a stiffener to start my day lately. It's not easy. Jumping online and talking to everybody. I never thought it would be easy, and truthfully, I didn't think I would make it. So I'm proud of myself that I got up here. Well, we're having social Woodstock. I need you guys so bad. I love the ones I have. But I need you guys. I need you to tell me what you want me to do, what you want to talk about, any of those things. Tell me to go to blazes, something. And so at this point, I have really, I touched on the paranormal yesterday, but they didn't really have anything new. One of the scariest ones I saw was this black light cloud with, you could see wispy fingers, and a little baby was playing on the floor, and it reached out and covered this child and went slithered under the bed. The bed maybe was like that high off the ground. This was about a year and a half old toddler, so she was about this high. Now her head maybe, but the rest of her couldn't fit in there. Yet she was in there, and the parents, thank God, had a webcam in there, was watching and ran in, and the father had to flip the bed to get to his daughter because she couldn't come out. She was too big. And they did move. They said on the video they did move out. But if something like that were to go and take your child and get it out of there, if you want to try to fight something, that's one thing. But you get that baby or the toddler, or I don't care if they're 18, if it's at them, get them out. Because whatever we're dealing with here, and we're seeing this more and more and more and more and more. I keep telling everybody I've been chasing the paranormal for over 50 years. We didn't have great equipment when we started. And I got to where I just didn't have much time with kids and so forth at work. And I did go and investigate Savannah, which was a real hoot. My daughter-in-law, love her. She took me, and she knew Savannah, so I did the whole tour thing. And at night, I saw the cemeteries during the day, and the generals and so forth that died there, because they thought that actually he did come to Savannah. General Grant, who had burnt Atlanta to the ground. So they expected him to come and do the same thing to them. So the fortifications they had made were still in place, and yet we still had many, many generals, lieutenants, colonels, because they fought in those days. They fought with their men, and they fought in front of their men. They led them. Even in World Wars One and Two, many died because of the officer corps, because they too led their soldiers, and I agree with that. Today, most of the people who are running the show are in DC, get ready to get in a bunker. Wish they'd throw Joe in one for a while. Just- Again, I gotta admit, when I think of that, I think of Hillary's face when she found out the Gigglemeister got the job for VP. Oh, Gigglemeister, that's what I call you. Oh, Kamala Harris, I know the girl's name. She a Gigglemeister. She just, I don't care if she's just looking at you. She giggling. I don't know what the hell she's on, but I would like it if she shared. So I have a doctor's appointment coming up. The surgery they did on my eyes are doing really good. I wear these because I can't see real close very well without. I can see distance without, and I'm very very glad that they did that for me. Yeah, two surgeries, so you're a little worried. And I woke up on the second one while they were cutting on one side and stitching on the other side, which was horrific. You don't like to wake up on stuff like that. It's just like, whoa. And they've got you tied down so you can't talk. Even in my mouth, they had a sponge thing. And my hands tied down with these sponge things. I mean, everything's tied down. All I got to do is wiggle my shoes, my feet. And also, as a trained nurse or professional in the medical field, you can tell by the patient's eyes if they're awake. And since they're operating on my eyes, they're like, oh my God, Wanda, hold on, hold on, hold on. We got you. Hold on. Pain medicine, pain medicine. Because I could feel it. And mind you, they did not stop. They kept right on cutting and stitching. I was like, oh my God, stop. But you can't say nothing. You can't shake your head. You can't say nothing. You can't move your arms, your legs, nothing. All I could do was my feet, just a little bit. But again, they knew this from looking into my eyes, and my eyes were clasped, like this. And I was like, I am so going to kill you when I get off this table. I think they caught on to that. Before that, believe it or not, I swear, you can't make this up. I had a procedure that was coming up. And apparently, I should have had it at 50. Here I'm almost 65. So they wanted to do this. And they went in, they gave me a little medication. And out I went. And there was a team of 5. And whatever they were doing, I didn't like it. I said, and they told me this, and they loved it. They laughed their ass off. It was basically stop that, stop that. Okay, I took out a 5-man team. They refused to ever do surgery with me again. I took out a 5-man team during this, so I still had to have the procedure. And this time they made sure I didn't wake up. Right? So, you're not going to wake up. And I woke up before I'd even left the surgery. And they were like, wait, you okay? I wonder what I did to the first team because they won't say. The ones who sent me to have the test brought in other doctors when they talked to me to see how I was doing because I had taken out this 5-man team. I mean, I took them out. They needed help. They had bruises, black eyes, split lips. I thought, well, don't mess with a woman when she's under. If you're doing the wrong thing, they might hurt you. And they told everybody, and this was at the VA hospital. I also go to the other VA on Freedom Way, which is the clinics. So the next time I had an appointment with my regular provider at the women's clinic, I go in, and she sees me. She says, "For such a little bitty thing, you sure raised hell up there." I knew what she was talking about. And she was just laughing. And she's tiny too. And she was very pregnant at the time. She was like, "Boy, you sure didn't like what they was doing to you. You put a stop to that shit, didn't you?" I was like, and it turned out she said, "Do you realize that has refused to do the test on you again? They had to get other people." And he said the other people didn't believe that this little 5'2", 64-year-old woman was pounding the dog shit out of you. And I'm like, diabetes and shit. Yeah. And they said every time somebody got close to me, I tried to kill them. I don't remember any of this, but they still tell this story. So this is in two different VAs that they tell this story. So, like I said, when I walked in to see, and it was a fairly new doctor. I think the second time I'd seen her, and very pregnant. And she was like, "You tried to end these people," and laughed. She thought it was so funny. Um, of course, I had to do the procedure again, and they made sure. They thought, "Oh, I'd sleep for hours." It still surprised them because I woke up. Surgery was done. It was post-op at that point, but I wasn't in the room or anything. I was awake and talking. Did you guys get this shit right? I'm not doing it again. It was so funny. One of the male nurses there said, "I will never ever do any different things on you. You hurt people. You don't take no crap, do you?" I was like, "No, not really." Not really. Being from Chicago, on top of it being short and adopted, yeah, the first thing I learned to do was fight. Man, I do not fight nicely. No, I fight dirty. I had cousins and nephews and adopted brother and a father from World War II, and they started when I was 9. I love the snow forts because we knew they were going to do them. They just didn't know if we'd walk around the block this way just to get away from it, go in the back door, or if we would just come straight up the walkway from the bus. And so most of the time they had their fortifications facing out between those hedge bushes for us to come walk halfway. It was half block from the bus. Instead, we would go the other way. And we had these little rope bags, and we'd be making snowballs on the way. And it was like me and 5 or 6 of my friends, we all lived like right there. And so we're coming up behind them, pound the shit out of them. We'd jump on and bury their face in the snow. It was so funny because they had the little fort. We kicked their ass anyway. People underestimate women, and especially short, tiny ones. But I had a black belt by the time I was 13, so it was not a good idea to mess with me, as one of my friends found out. I used to get home, I had to walk home. This was done at at our high school. That's where you worked out, where you got your belt, and all that stuff. So I didn't have time, so I was walking home in my gi. I think I had a green belt at the time, not possible. I had yellow. In any event, one of my friend's brothers, and he was a friend to me as well, lived one door over from me, decided he would kind of give me a scare, and then he would walk me the rest of the way home. This is a big field of nothing in between what would have been the elementary school and our house. And he came up behind me and grabbed me by the throat. And I beat the piss out of him and then took off. I didn't know who it was. It was dark. And basically it was to disable this person, whoever they are, and get out. And that's what I did. And this guy, I'd known him for years by that point. I guess what, 3 or 4 years. I think it was 13 or 14. And I broke 2 or 3 ribs. And yeah, his mom and dad called my mom and dad. Said, "What did he do that she wanted to hurt him so bad?" I was like, "I didn't know who it was." And then they really, and his name was Boyd. Even he said she didn't know I was going to do that. And before I could even say who I was, I was gasping for air in the snow because he had kind of covered up with the snow and just jumped me. And I was like, "Oh, you're dead." That was, and again, I don't play fair. I want you on the ground, struggling to breathe if you can, and I'm not going to help you. So I can go. I'm not going to, no, I don't play fair. I don't play easy. I was too little. So, if you get a chance to get those hits in, you take them down and then you get out. And that's what I did. So finally, because Boyd himself spoke and said, no, she didn't do it. It was me. She definitely put me in my place. He said he'd never again surprise a woman. I just love I got to see him when I went to Wisconsin and came back through Chicago when I showed my husband my home and my school. And he always says, whenever he saw my school, he was like, "You went to a resort." You didn't go down here, a school is a building. In Chicago, when I went to school, they had the nuclear underground streets and so forth under there. And we had like 6.5 miles of buildings. We had Olympic pools for the boys and the girls. We had fencing, we had tennis, we had archery, we had all this stuff. Even the language, and it was required that you learn a second language, and I took Spanish because I had a friend, and her abuela, her grandmother, spoke Spanish, and she couldn't speak English, and she always thought I was la bonita, the pretty one, very sweet woman. So I took Spanish so I could talk to her, which was really great when I could talk to her. She was an amazing woman. She was, I believe it was Portugal, was where they were from. In any event, my husband kept saying, "This cannot be your high school. This can't be your high school." Because it was so big. Even trying to turn around and go through the buildings, you get lost. There was a lot at my school. And I was grateful for that when I saw that because I had seen the system here. It was terrible. So I see I've talked basically about myself once again because the little news I have wasn't really going to cut it. You can find it for yourself if you're looking. Just don't go to the regular stations. I see my background music is going. Are you still watching? No, I quit. And you wonder, there's AI. I've got my camera on. I'm broadcasting from my Chromebook at the bar. I have not put the sound room together and stuff. We've got so much going on. And I like to have a little bit of background. And yes, I keep saying I'm sitting at the bar and I've got this spot, and I may turn it around so you can. But again, I don't know because you see me in the back of my head, and I think it's not a good look. I don't know. So put stuff in the chat. But right now it's live stream. I hardly ever get anything on live stream. I type 148 words a minute. Yes, I still do that. I've heard many women go, "Nah, you can't do that." Yeah, you can. You can only type as fast as you can read. I used to teach typing in several different areas, including the military. And they'd go, "How do you do 140?" They'd be doing 50, and that's with errors. You can't type with errors. You have to do it without errors. And they noticed I didn't look at the keyboard. And that's the way we were trained. There were no letters on those keyboards. So there's no, and so now if I look down, I make a mistake because that's not how I was taught. Everything was by touch, and even on these. And I've checked myself to see if I've gotten any slower. I still at 148 with no errors. Each time you have an error, deduct 5. At least they used to. So nobody's been close to me forever. And I've tried to tell them to understand that it's not bad typing skills. You can't type faster than you can read. So if most people don't read that fast, it's just a skill set. It's like some guys, like my husband, he's the MacGyver. He could do all that. I can't. I read fast, I type fast, and that's how it gets there. If you type 50 words a minute, you're good in today's world. You're already too fast. Imagine 4 times that. So yes, I can keep up on live chat. If I couldn't keep up here, I would pull up my other Chromebook and do the same thing. So I see my hour is up, which means I've been talking about myself too long. So all of you who want to see the pretty lady at the bar, I'm gonna throw the pretty in just for Snickers. So come and see me. Uh, come and see me. There's a bunch of us out there that love life, that love music, that love our kids and grandkids, and we hate the government that has suddenly. We hate the man, and we should. Not to the point where we hurt somebody, but to the point that we're supportive of our children and our grandchildren. We have a chance here to make a difference, to say, and maybe for all time, if we don't get an ELE, it's one of those end of life events like Yellowstone blowing. But at this point in time, we have something that these guys can look at. They can see that the generation that went through the 70s with the fast cars and the blue bottom, I mean, the bell bottom jeans and the hip hugger pants. And, back then, like Woodstock, nobody was hurt. It's just a gathering. It's a chance for all of us to say, hey, we're still here. We still care. We don't like what's going on. No, we don't have money. And we're too old to go out there and protest, which I don't think that's a damn thing. Don't give a politician any money, period. None of them. I don't care who they are because they've already got millions because they took it off your insurance lobbyist. They took it off your Medicaid lobbyist. They took it off your unemployment insurance lobbyist. That's why you don't get that money back. They already gave it to them. So why should you give them money? Are they listening to you? Do you get to go up there and say, hey, excuse me just a second? No, they're calling. I mean, the police are there and they're dragging you out of the teacher's conference because you had the audacity to say something. Stand up. Open that window and say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not taking it anymore. Now then come sit down at the bar and have a shot. I've got some 14-year-old scotch here. If you need something else, tell me. I would love to have somebody like Joe Rogan and all them over once the studio's done. But this is just a small house that we took from our son. So think about the big house because they were surprised by a child. And I see, looks like my husband's again. So I'm going to have to go too, those guys. Love all of you. Respect all of you. Please come see me. Toodles.